When our worlds collided. I never believed in love at first sight. Not the kind that makes your chest tighten and your stomach drop in a million ways. But the day I saw him, something inside me shifted. It wasn't cinematic. There were no violins or slow-motion rain. Just him, standing in the corner of the crowded cafe, his laptop open, glasses sliding down his nose, completely absorbed in whatever world he was creating on the screen. I almost didn't approach him. I never did things like that. I was the kind of person who observed life from the edges, quietly cataloging everyone else's stories while pretending my own didn't exist. But something about the way he furrowed his brow at the screen, muttered under his breath, and then chuckled quietly, made me want to cross the room and interrupt his world, and I did. "Excuse me," I said, my voice barely steady. "Is this seat taken?" He looked up, and for a moment, I thought I saw recognition in his eyes, though I knew we'd never met. It was something stranger, something like a spark that makes your skin tingle without warning. He smiled. Not the polite, empty smile people give strangers. This one reached his eyes, tugged at his lips, and somehow pulled me in. "Go ahead," he said, gesturing to the empty chair across from him. I sat down, suddenly acutely aware of the warmth radiating from his presence. We started talking about the usual things: coffee, work, the city, but it quickly turned into something else entirely. We laughed about small, absurd things, shared stories that weren't meant for casual acquaintances, and in the span of that hour, the world around us disappeared. Over the next few weeks, we saw each other everywhere. By accident, I told myself at first. The park, the bookstore, the little Italian place around the corner. Always him, always there. Our conversations grew longer, deeper. Texts turned into calls. Calls turned into long video chats where the night passed unnoticed. He was smart in a way that didn't feel intimidating, more like he lifted you to match him rather than towered above you. He challenged me, made me laugh, and somehow made me feel seen in ways I'd never felt before. And I was falling. I didn't want to admit it because I'd been hurt before, and I had built walls around my heart so high I wasn't sure anyone could scale them. But the truth was there, undeniable and frightening. I was in love. The first time we held hands, it felt like the world paused. We were walking home from a late-night study session, and the air was crisp, scented faintly with rain. I brushed my fingers against his, expecting him to pull away. But he didn't. Instead, he laced his fingers through mine, careful but deliberate. My heart nearly stopped. The electricity between us was undeniable. "Why didn't we do this sooner?" I whispered, half to him, half to the universe that had finally aligned our paths. "Because timing is a cruel joke," he replied, smiling that smile that made my knees weak. Of course, nothing this perfect lasts without friction. We argued. Not often, but enough to scare me. Small misunderstandings blew into storms. Texts misread, moods clashing, stubbornness flaring. And every time I wondered if love was worth it. But every single time, we came back. Apologies were spoken, hands were held tighter, hearts were understood just a little more. There was one night, though, when I realized just how deep my feelings ran. We had gone out to watch the city skyline from the rooftop of my apartment building. He was quiet, watching the lights dance in the distance, and I could feel the tension in his shoulders. "Something on your mind?" I asked softly. He shook his head. "Just thinking," he murmured, but his eyes betrayed him. I sat closer, and he didn't move away. "I think I'm falling for you," I said before I could stop myself. His gaze met mine, wide, almost startled, then softened into something so tender I could barely breathe. "I've been falling for a while," he admitted, his hand brushing mine in a way that made my heart surge. From that moment, everything changed. We moved together through the city like it had always been ours to explore. every conversation, every glance, every accidental brush of fingers carrying weight. There was passion in our words, in our silences, in the way we simply existed together. We spent weekends discovering little hidden cafes, exploring quiet bookstores, and cooking ridiculous meals in my tiny kitchen that ended in laughter, flower fights, and stolen kisses. Every day felt like a scene from a story I'd always wanted to live. We shared secrets, my past, his past, insecurities, dreams, fears. Nothing was off limits. Vulnerability became our language, and intimacy was everywhere. In a shared hoodie, in lingering stares, in the warmth of a hand on the small of my back. Then came the night everything clicked, the night we both realized that love wasn't just an idea we whispered in the dark. It was tangible, alive, unstoppable. We were at my apartment after a long day, rain tapping lightly against the windows. He was sitting on the couch, scrolling through his phone absent-mindedly, and I couldn't take my eyes off him. Something in my chest twisted, a longing I couldn't contain. Before I knew it, I was standing in front of him, taking his hands in mine. "I need you," I said, and the words were raw, almost desperate. He looked up at me, eyes darkened with something I hadn't seen before: desire, affection, adoration. "I need you, too," he whispered. We kissed, first tentative, then urgent. All the weeks of longing, teasing glances, and quiet yearning poured into that single moment. Hands wandered, hearts raced, and the room seemed to shrink around us. Time didn't exist. There was only the two of us, the warmth of our bodies, the intensity of our connection. Every touch, every sigh, every heartbeat was a confession. And when we finally pulled back, breathless and laughing softly, there was an understanding that this was just the beginning. That passion wasn't just physical, it was emotional, spiritual, the merging of two lives that had been searching for each other all along. We spent the night wrapped in each other's arms, talking about the future, dreaming aloud, feeling the kind of joy that makes you forget the world outside. Every kiss was a promise, every touch a vow. And when sleep finally claimed us, it was together, entwined, hearts beating in perfect rhythm. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. Our love only deepened. We celebrated small victories, supported each other through failures, and built a life that felt entirely ours. The city became our playground, our sanctuary, a backdrop for the kind of happiness I never dared hope for. We fought, yes, but we always found our way back. We laughed until we cried. We whispered secrets no one else would ever hear. And we loved with a ferocity that was unshakable, unstoppable, undeniable. Looking back now, I realize that love isn't about perfection. It's about choosing someone every single day. Through the annoyances, the hardships, the messy, complicated chaos of life. It's about passion, yes, but also trust, respect, and shared dreams. It's about letting someone in so completely that they become a part of your soul, and knowing you're theirs in return. And I know without a doubt that he is mine. Because we found each other. We fell, we stumbled, we soared. And now every morning, every laugh, every touch reminds me, this is it. This is happiness. This is love. And it's ours, forever. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like and a comment of what you thought of the story, and don't forget to subscribe. I'd greatly appreciate it.